Good evening, and welcome to our show, Brookfield Public Advocate. I'm your host, Bruce Senig. For those new to our show, or people that are returning, just to remind you what our mission is, I want to take a couple of minutes to tell the viewers how we decided on the series, doing the series of shows. Our goal is to inform and educate the folks in and around Brookfield on issues of importance that sometimes go unreported by the local media. We will also provide a venue for those that would like to offer differing opinions, kind of a counterpoint. And finally, for those that feel that they have something to say but are not able to get the forum, this will be a forum for helping to get their message out. Which leads me to tonight's topic, the Brookfield Library. In the 6 years I've lived in town, we've heard much about the schools, projects that have been undertaken, roads, open space purchases, water issues, etc., many times all vying for the same dollars. That's why I thought I'd provide this program the opportunity and the library an opportunity to help get their message out. Our guests this evening are from the Brookfield Library. First, the library's director, Anita Barney. Anita, although born in Brooklyn, likes to consider herself a native nutmegger and was raised in Milford, Connecticut. She has a degree in music theory from the University of Bridgeport and a Master's of Library Science from Southern Connecticut State University. Prior to coming to Brookfield, she worked at a library cooperative for 23 years, her last position being Executive Director of the Western Connecticut Library Council. Anita has been Director of Brookfield's Library since 2003. Our second guest is Catherine Van Leeuwen. Catherine grew up in Long Beach, California, where her love of libraries began, and starting with the neighborhood bookmobile. In her first career, Catherine worked with attorneys. She earned her MLS from Southern Connecticut State University and has been at the Brookfield Library for 10 years. Anita, Catherine, thank you for coming and welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
It's good for you to be here. First, some statistics about Brookfield's library. Last fiscal year, the library lent 155,943 items. They had 105,408 people come through the doors. And computer users spent 548,999. We just couldn't get that extra minute. Maybe it would have crashed. That's 9,150 hours on library computers. Anita, the library is a town department. Where does the money for the library come from? If you could give us a breakdown of funding covered by state grants, local taxes, donations, fees, etc., and where does it go?
Okay. 95.97% of our funding, that was a difficult figure because I'm not a math person, comes from the town. The rest of it comes from fines, although that's being reduced greatly as the email pre-overdue notices start to go out. We do rent out our community room. That generates some money. We get grants. We get 2 grants every year from the state library, one for Kinetic Car, one for state aid to public libraries. Both of those will be reduced a little this upcoming fiscal year with the state budget. And we get donations and we get sponsors for our concerts.
And I am on your email broadcast list.
Yes.
And I imagine many other people are as well, get them religiously, and know that you recently moved to a new automated system for the library.
We did.
Can you please tell the viewers what that's all about?
Well, it was a combination of things. Part of it is that our previous commercial system was no longer supported by the vendor. It became obsolete, as computer systems tend to do. We're part of a 60 library consortium called Bibliomation, and we've moved to evergreen open source software, and we call our version of it BiblioOak. I thought an oak was not an evergreen. I have been set straight. There is an evergreen oak. The big advantage to open source is that we will never have to migrate from one system to another. The changes are incremental, and as long as you can afford to pay for the enhancements that you need, you don't have to wait for the vendor to decide that, well, yeah, maybe 2 years down the line we can accommodate your request for an enhancement. The Evergreen community, the combination of all the libraries that use that system, frequently share their resources and go out and look for funding to write a new piece of software. The old catalog had what we called a kids catalog that only searched children's items. The new one doesn't have that yet, but there are 5 library systems across the country that are funding the development of a kids cat. So that's one of the reasons we made the move.
Do you have figures on how much that costs?
The development of the kids cat?
No, the new system.
It costs substantially less because there are no licensing fees. Our previous system, Bibliomation, paid somewhere around $80,000 a year. There are no licensing fees, but now we're paying programmers. So it's pretty much a wash.
Pretty much a wash.
Yeah.
What other kind of programs do you offer to the public?
Oh, I have a list. I have a list. Did you know that we lend out museum passes? You can check a museum pass out just like you check out a book. We have passes that are paid by the Friends of the Library to 7 different museums and attractions, including the Stepping Stones in Norwalk, the Beardsley Zoo in Bridgeport, which is a really neat place, the Mystic Aquarium, the Maritime Aquarium. And you can check those out for 2 days?
2 days.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you know you can use your hometown library card in any library in the state?
Really?
Really. You can go to Greenwich, check out a book, and return it in New London. That's called Kinetic Card. And then the van service that brings the book back to its home library is also funded by the state. That's called Kinetic Car. And those are great examples of your tax dollars at work. You wonder where your state tax money goes? That's a piece of it. If you're not registered to vote, you can get a voter registration form in the library. We have 14 computers for the people to use. If you've never had your computer or your printer die, it's a matter of time. Everybody's computer or printer dies. When the power was out, people were coming in to check their email. We have a lot of patrons who have given up their home internet access because they come and use it free. That's part of that 9,000 hours. We offer a service called Job Now, which is a resume review service for people looking for work. We have a free monthly email newsletter that you mentioned. We use it to announce upcoming adult programs, kids programs, teen programs, concerts, everything that's coming up. We talked about the enhancements to our new system. The emails will come from an organization called Constant Contact, and that's our email. We offer free concerts. We have a series of 3 coming up this summer. The June one, I think, will be before this program airs. On July 24th, we have Fiesta del Norte doing Latin jazz, and our 9th annual jazz party will be on August 21st. The summer concerts are on the lawn, Mother Nature permitting, and otherwise they're inside. We have 3 notaries public on staff. We rent out the community room. You can request that we buy a book for the collection. If we don't have it and you think we should, we'll consider it. We have a Friends of the Library group, which most people probably know about. They raise money through a book sale in October and an ongoing book sale and membership. And they provide things that we couldn't otherwise afford to do. I know our children's librarian will be talking to you later, and she'll talk a lot more about that. And we teach people to use online resources intelligently, not to blindly accept everything they find online. Google is not the answer to everything. I have an amazing example of that, but I don't know whether you want to get into that now.
Sure. Mention that.
Okay. I looked for information on Lyme disease treatment, being one of the however many millions of people who've been diagnosed with it. And I found this website that recommends that you take 3 grams of salt and 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C 4 times a day. The recommendation from the National Institutes of Health is 15 milligrams of salt a day. This website recommends 12 grams of salt a day. Don't believe everything you find on Google. So, I thought that was kind of scary.
Well, certainly we're in an area that's prime area for Lyme disease.
Yes.
I know several people in town that,
Right.
that have had it. You met the list that you've mentioned. All of those are free services.
Everything is free. We are a free public library. We are actually, I can't say we're mandated by the state. Provision for state libraries, for public libraries in the state, is included in the state statutes. There's no requirement that a town have a public library.
Well,
But everything is free. We do charge for printing from our internet computers, from our computers, period.
Right.
15 cents a page for black and white, 50 cents a page for color. Other than that, we do charge for the use of the community room. But all of our services are free.
Right. Well, next
So is
time.
a library card.
I know, I have one. The next time I need a notary public, I'm coming to you
Yeah.
because they charge
We
at
do-
town hall.
We do charge a nominal fee
Oh,
for the
okay.
for notarizing documents.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Regarding magazines, newspapers, subscriptions, who and how are decisions made as to what you have at the library, what you receive?
Some of it is, but we've always done it that way.
Okay.
Some of it is basic, everybody has to have them type things, the New York Times, Time Magazine, People, and a lot of it is either suggestions from the staff or suggestions from patrons who say, why don't you have a magazine on recreational running? So we subscribe to Runner's World, one of those.
That's right.
One of those, yeah.
A question for you. With the recently completed senior center, there were some issues regarding the compliance with the Americans for Disabilities Act. In that vein, now I know that the building, of course, the library that is an older building, and I imagine that the building itself isn't compliant, hence maybe we could use a new library. But in that vein, what services does the library offer for those who are blind or visually impaired?
We offer large print books, a substantial collection. We offer audio books, books on CD and tape. The tape collection is diminishing as more people have CD players. We refer people to the State Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped, which provides free reading material. We had a magnifying machine that was provided through a grant from the Lions Club, and it wasn't used, so we sent it over to the senior center. We are definitely not ADA compliant. Our space between our stacks is too narrow. The restrooms are not handicapped accessible. But that's one of the reasons we're thinking about a new library someday.